Hello again, Math 1. I'm back with a lesson that pretty much piggybacks off of what we talked about in the previous video, 8.1, Exponent Properties. So yeah, I'm just going to give you guys the torch at this point and just say, can you try these two on your own? So that's how we're going to start this video. Pause the video, try 1 and 2. All right, let's see if you guys have the right thinking on 8.1, because these are problems that you should have been able to do from that lesson. All right, so if you see brackets nested outside of parentheses, that instantly means that whoever is on the outside of the bracket is going to be multiplied by that number. It's still the power to a power property. So you're going to have negative 4, w to the 3, x to the 2, y to the 1, and z to the 7. All of that taken to the 3 times 2 power, which is 6. Now, technically, negative 4 is given a little exponent as well. We're going to put a little 1 right there. And then this 6 is going to be distributed to every single exponent in this expression, even the 1 on the negative 4. Okay? So it's going to be negative 4 to the 1 times 6 power. In fact, we put parentheses around any negative expression because the calculator gets kind of wonky when it tries to compute negative numbers taken to exponents. W is going to be to the 3 times 6, 18. X is going to be to the 2 times 6, which is 12. Let me write that a little bit better so you guys aren't confused. W to the 18, X to the 12, Y to the 6, and then Z to the 7 times 6, 42. And then at this point, it's a matter of taking negative 4 times itself 6 times. So the answer is not 24. The answer would be, I'll show you exactly how we type this in. Negative 4, close the parentheses. See the little caret button right here? My calculator actually creates an exponent. Yours might just put the little symbol in there to the 6th power. Notice that I have parentheses around my 4. My negative 4. Hit enter, and you get 4,096. All right, so the coefficient is positive 4,096. All the variables are the same. If you got this right on the first try, well done. That was one of the tougher examples. If you check out number 2, this one requires you guys to think, okay, all my coefficients can be rearranged using the commutative property, negative 3 times 2 times 5. So they can kind of be in their own group like that. So a squared then is going to be grouped with its other a terms, a to the 7. B squared is going to be grouped with b to the 5. And then my c terms, c to the 3, c to the 1, and then that's c to the 1. And this is where you guys have to, in your mind, understand completely that the coefficients are being multiplied to one another. You don't need any sort of extra properties to recognize that negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, times 5 is negative 30. So you're just straight up multiplying the coefficients. However, this is a times a. Times a times a times a times a times a times a times a. It's a to the 9 because you're supposed to add the exponents when you're multiplying same bases. So a is the same base here. It'd be a to the 9, b to the 7, and c to the 3 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, so now that we knocked that out of the way, here's the new lesson. What are we supposed to do when you see an expression taken to a power times an expression taken to a power? Before it was either I asked you to compute this without the exponents, or I said compute just one of these at a time. Now you're asked to do both at once. So the procedure actually isn't that tricky. All you have to do is follow the order of operations. What comes first in the order of operations? You're supposed to try to simplify everything inside the parentheses. Nothing can be simplified because they're all unlike terms. Exponents comes next. So you have to apply the exponents to the inside first. So this means that the power of powers property, when you take a power to a power, comes first. Power of powers comes first. Okay? So that means I have to say this guy is its own individual quantity that needs to be simplified. So I got to take that 4, distribute it through to the z, to the y to the 4th, to the x to the 5th, and to that negative 3. So this is going to be negative 3 to the 4th power, okay? Because there's a little 1 there that needs to be multiplied by that 4. X to the 5 times 4, all right? Remember, we multiply exponents when we're dealing with power of powers. This is where we multiply the little numbers, multiply the exponents. The y value is going to be to 16, and then the z, remember, there's a little 1 there, so it's z to the 4. And then you can simplify the negative 3 to the 4th power. It ends up being a positive 81. Then we do the other one. We say a 2 needs to be distributed to the z to the 6, y to the 2, x to the 4, and that 2 coefficient. So in my green, I'm going to say that there's going to be a 2 to the 2 power, right? And then it's going to be x to the 4 times 2, y to the 2 times 2, and then z to the 6 times 2. Which that 2 squared ends up being a 4. Right? So now multiplication and division come next in the order of operations. So this is where we have to do the move where they were normally in parentheses, and then your job was to say, I can collect the like terms side by side. The 81 times the 4, if we rearranged everything, okay? And then the x to the 20 times x to the 8. And then y to the 16 times y to the 4. And z to the 4 times z to the 12. And then again, you got to get it right in your mind that these coefficients are not added to one another. They are multiplied. 81 times 4 is 324. You wouldn't add the two. However, the nature of these powers that have the same bases, you have to add those exponents together. Okay? So, multiply the coefficients. Add the exponents of the like bases. So, x to the 28, y to the 20, z to the 16. And that's it. Notice I ditched the parentheses on the last step. You should ditch the parentheses as well. All right. Hopefully you guys are feeling pretty confident with this stuff. Try number 4 on your own. Pause the video. Give it a go. All right. Let's check it out. First group, I'm taking negative 3 and applying a square to it. J squared to the 2 is going to be j to the 4. K cubed to the 2 is k to the 6. Noticing I'm multiplying the exponents because that's how power of powers works. For my other group, I've got 2 to the 3 power, j to the 2 times 3 power, which is 6, and then k to the 3 power. All right, this is the point at which I would say this is 9, and this is going to be 2 times 2 times 2. It's going to be 8. I'm going to move them side by side right away. So 9 times 8. Here was the 9. The 8 was right there. So I group those together. Then I'm going to group the j to the 4 and the j to the 6 together. Okay, and then the k to the 6 times k to the 3. All right, then we got 72. Multiply the coefficients, add the exponents of the like bases. That's going to be j to the 10 and k to the 9. All right, just a few more examples. What happens if there's 3 terms multiplied? And what happens if we include the brackets on the last example? Again, I would pause the video if I were you. There's plenty of space to sort of cross out the work you did if you didn't do it correctly. Pause the video. Try it on your own. All right, let's see if you guys did it correctly. So this is going to be negative 2 taken to the 3 power. I'm still going to put parentheses around it. N to the 6 times 3 is n to the 18. Y to the 5 times 3 is y to the 15. That should be your first group. All right, I'll do it in a different color here. This is going to be times negative 6 to the 3rd power because that one's taken to the 3. N to the 3 times 3 is 9. Y to the 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. And in red, we'll do the last one, times negative 1 to the 6 power, n to the 6 power, and then y to the 6 power. Okay, so now, negative 2 times itself 3 times. If you plug that into the calculator, it's going to give you negative 8. Okay? A negative taken to an odd power will always be negative. Negative 6 times itself 3 times is going to be negative 216. Okay. And then the last one, negative 1 times itself 6 times. Okay, this is a error alert. Okay, a lot of people, when they see negative 1 to the 6th power, they want to just take the negative 1 times the 6 and call it negative 6. But that's not correct. If you take negative 1 times itself 6 times, you get positive 1. See, negative 1 to the 6th power, positive 1. Okay, I just wanted to confirm that with you guys. So here's my first group. All these coefficients are going to be multiplied together. You've got the n to the 18 then, n to the 9, and then n to the 6. I gotta be careful with all these colors. Last video I got ink all over me. All right. So I group the n's together, I group the coefficients together, y to the 15, y to the 9, y to the 6. Hopefully you guys are getting the rhythm of this because it's not too difficult, especially if you got a calculator on hand. So take these, multiply them together. I know right off the bat 2 negatives multiplied make a positive, so it's got to be a positive answer. If I multiply those out, I get 8 times 216 times 1 is 1,728. 1,728 is my new coefficient. Multiply the coefficients, add the exponents of the like bases. So this is going to be, let's see, 24 plus 9, n to the 33. And then this is going to be y to the 24, 30, y to the 30. All right, last example. Just to make sure that we are 100% cool with the brackets, I put one example where you have to use brackets. So my first group here, I'm not going to try to do too many steps at once. I just want to make it look like this one. No more brackets, please. To get rid of the brackets, just take the outside exponent times the inside exponent. That's 5 and 3. You're going to get negative 3ab to the 4 power to the 15th now. And I'm just going to rewrite the second one so that everybody's progressing at the same rate here. All right. Now it's not a special case anymore. Looks just like number 5, looks just like number 4, looks just like number 3. So this group, oh my goodness, -3 to the 15th power. So right now, it's not 45. It's not -3 times 15. It's going to be a huge number. A to the 1 to the 15 is going to make it a to the 15. And then b to the 4 times 15 is 60. B to the 60. All right. Do the same thing with this one. It's going to be -1 to the 8th power. A to the 4 times 8, which is 32. B to the 2 times 8, which is 16. All right, now I'm going to get the terms together. So, you know what? I'm going to punt right now and plug this into my calculator because it's a huge number. So -3 to the 15th power. Yikes. -14,348,907. And then -1 to the 8th power, it's a -1 times itself an even number of times. You multiply 1 times itself and you get 1. It's going to be +1. If you need reassurance, your calculator can back me up. Bam, 1. So I'm going to say times 1. You can probably skip the step where you don't show that because you're just multiplying by 1. But, you know, just to be absolutely clear. And then you get a to the 15, a to the 32, b to the 60, b to the 16. And then I multiply my coefficients, big number. Add the exponents for the like bases. A to the 47, b to the 76. All right, guys. 17 and a half minutes. Thank you for enduring. Thank you for staying with us. And, yeah. Exponent properties. There you have it. All right, thanks for watching.